Hey there, Cheese Meisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been, You're so precious to me, am I precious to you? You're so precious to me. Except for that's not a real song that was ever anywhere other than on this episode, and well, not this episode alone, but no, David sings Precious again. Um,
God.
uh-huh. Uh, so this would have been that, but it wasn't. Uh, I am Jeff, and I'm listed in Palos Verdes. Uh, Joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and I think keyboard players are way cuter than drummers.
That is some facts, and we're going to have to investigate whether that's true. Um, we'll come back to Nikki and
Yeah.
management. Uh, this week, Cheese Meisters, we are talking about season 3, episode 4, Sex Lies and Volleyball / Photo Fini. Original air date August 5th, 1992. A lot of stuff happens in this episode. Like it's a busy fucking episode, and
Yeah.
it felt that way to me more this time than any other time I've ever seen it. Like it just felt like phew, they put a lot in this episode, a lot going on.
Yeah, I felt that when I was writing what I thought this episode was about and writing down examples, I went, "Oh, I have a lot."
I know, yeah, and it's and I'm interested to see what you think this episode is about because I think it's very specifically about one thing, but
Okay.
it could there's a lot again, a lot going on here. So in this episode, there's a volleyball tournament, and Steve is like, I'm gonna A, get a kick-ass volleyball partner, and B, fuck. And good job on A. Better luck next time on B, Steve. He meets this chick, Brooke Alexander, what did Steve say at the beginning of the episode? He said, and we're going to end up slagging off on Brooke here, but
Yeah, sorry, Brooke.
um, he says that in an hour the beach is going to be crawling with hard-bodied babes, and that's not who Brooke is. Brooke is not a hard-bodied babe. She's just like she's a cute girl with a mom haircut.
There was a hard-bodied babe in the background at one point in this bikini, and I was like, "Well, damn, those abs
Right.
have been working hard." And like, we're not body shaming here, people, but like it's Hollywood, so we're a little surprised that they didn't go with the age-old definition of or what
Or,
Hollywood considered the definition of hard-bodied babe.
or even the presentation. Because
Yeah.
not like at no point does she act like someone who is like a fitness model or
No.
a sex symbol or a like a bikini model. Like she doesn't act like any of those sexy things. She's just like girl who plays volleyball, and both of them are like, oh,
I know. Which maybe we should applaud them for being, like thinking they want one thing and knowing what they can go for and
maybe
still not get. And still not get.
it's still gonna go bad. Yeah, that's one thing I wrote for like way down later in my notes, but maybe what that is saying, the fact that when Steve and Brandon are talking this Brooke stuff out at the end of the episode, and Brandon's like, "Look at her, Steve. What would you have done?" And they cut to Brooke, and she's just like standing there drinking a paper cup of water. Like, they're both like, and Steve's like, "You're right, Brandon. I probably would have done the same thing." And maybe what they're saying is these two hornballs will cut each other's throat over anybody, doing anything. It doesn't matter.
The
She's not
message
trying to be sexy.
the message here is we don't actually have to do anything to attract men. They're just constantly horny and they'll go, listen, I learned this as a barista because I
Mm-hmm.
was tired of getting harassed, and so I thought maybe if I just don't wear makeup. No, it didn't change anything. It could be opening hours. these people are ready to say some insane shit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to come back to the idea of saying insane shit while flirting with people, but
Yes.
we haven't even made it through any part of this episode.
No.
Like, we got sidetracked down Brooke Alley. Meanwhile, in Paris, Donna only speaks enough French to know when someone calls her stupid, and then orders a pastry that she gets Robinson Ash the thirded in the streets of Paris. Just photos.
Okay, but why didn't that happen to me when I was eating my crepe? Like, why did I only get checked out? Why wasn't someone taking my photo and,
Well, that's a really good question, and I think it plays into something else that this episode is really about. This thing's fucking all over the place.
No.
I kind of love it. And the woman who's taking Donna's picture, her job is to find girls for her boss to fuck. And so she's doing that. And for the carrot, she puts out there modeling. Oh, you could be a model.
I'm pretty enough to model?
I will come over there. Oh, Pierre, you are married. I'm safe. So
I remember those days.
Yeah, Brenda and Maggie, is that the other girl's name?
I was wondering the same thing because she looks familiar, and I couldn't remember her name. Either way,
I think her name's Maggie. Are talking and smoking, and she's like, "Come on, Brenda. Like, Pierre's gonna, he's gonna want to see her naked. Like, that's where this story ends." And
my earrings,
Brenda's
FYI, are cigarettes.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Don't smoke, kids.
Just wait.
Yeah, there you go. Light it. And Brenda's like, Donna loves David. Ain't nothing happening here. And then Pierre makes a play. But first he offers her a 2-year contract, which is weird. And Donna is like, no, I'm not going to do that. I love my David, and I'm going to je suis American. And I'm not stupid, and whatever, Donna motivations, actions. Yeah. Meanwhile, Nikki shows up at the beach club and finds herself drawn like sailors to the song of the siren to David Silver's cabana, where he is playing the keyboard and dancing by himself. And we have now been introduced to the music career of David Silver. How do you feel about the music career of David Silver?
It's fine. Follow your passions, man. Just, I'm not going to have fun watching you get hurt or do better than me.
Yeah, either way this goes, it's going to be upsetting. I get that.
I think it's just weird. I'm still having a hard time accepting his glow up. Like, he's tan. Like, his... I don't know. The way men's bodies change is so strange. Like, again, it's not how my body changed, although my body didn't change like, what would be considered typical anyway. So right. I don't know. But yeah, his whole glow up is interesting, and I'm not over it.
Well, Nikki's not over it either, because she likes that music, and she likes the way he moves, and she's got a thing for musicians. She has a boyfriend. He's in a band called Waste Management. At this point, I need to ask you what kind of music you think Waste Management plays.
Ska.
The problem, that's a great answer, but it's about 4 years too early.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Ska was not like that big ska explosion was like 97. So
electronic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
But, yeah.
Could I interest you in getting to watch Waste Management perform in a few episodes?
What? Okay.
Could I further interest you in the fact that her boyfriend does not play the drums, but rather plays the guitar?
Oh my God.
And could I further interest you with the fact that her boyfriend's name is Diesel Stone?
Stop! This happening?
And could I further interest you with the fact that Diesel Stone is played by David Arquette.
I feel like I'm meeting him. Okay, he is such a dweeb. So is he just like the San Francisco David Silver?
Well, you're gonna see. I just, I'm just not even gonna, because there's so much joy in the one episode featuring Diesel Stone and the Waste Management for me that ask yourself this question when we're watching that episode: is it possible for Nikki to like both of these people? Is it possible for Nikki to like both of these kinds of music?
Yes.
I mean, she contains multitudes. So anyway,
is she also a Gemini?
No, I don't know what her deal is birthday wise. I do know that if they had cast her in Brooke's role, I would have understood Steve and Brandon drooling over themselves.
Absolutely, she's adorable.
Yeah, I have
really good too.
Yeah, Dana Barron, as I pointed out, she's Audrey Griswold in the Vacation, the first Vacation movie.
I mean, she was doing the looking up. I'm not gonna cry.
I
thought, damn.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she's super solid and like fucking adorable. Like I'm just woof.
Yeah.
Like that brunette, that Paul Newman's me. That's all I'm saying.
So glad I created an adjective.
Yeah,
I was not anticipating her story to continue, so that's exciting. And also,
in the way, yeah, it's interesting in the way it continues. We'll see how you enjoy it on its way through. Its progression. Kelly and Dylan are hanging out a lot. He comes over to help her babysit, and they watch Casablanca. And
handsy. He's touching her leg and then puts his hands on her waist in a way that is not helpful to her volleyball skills at all. She puts her arm around him at one point like she's going to kiss him and then looks befuddled like, oh, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah. So, and then the other thing, the Steve and Brandon of it all is Steve likes Brooke. Brooke likes Brandon. Brandon doesn't want to because Steve saw her first because, rules.
Even though Steve can clearly, I feel like he sees she's not interested, and yet he's refusing to read the signals. I'm like,
he doesn't want to. He sees it. Yeah. No, you kind of feel bad for Steve in this episode, honestly.
No, I don't.
A little bit, because he just feels like he's such a sad sack, and all the things he says are kind of lame, and
I'm too bitter to feel bad for him.
There's something to that, yeah, but this never goes the other direction, Brandon. Where you feel for him, Anyway, Brooke ends up with Brandon. Steve ends up alone, and Kelly ends up in a dark cabana in the middle of the day with Dylan.
I honestly can't remember if I screamed or not now. I may have blacked out.
Okay. So
faces, the way the light was hitting Dylan, I was like, stop it.
Okay. So what do you think is happening here? Where do you think this goes?
I'm so scared to say because, like Donna, I too am afraid of being stupid, even though this is not a thing to feel stupid over at all.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're trying to set up a scenario wherein they almost hook up, like they kiss maybe, or they get close and they have, I bet the next episode is going to be a constant back and forth of like, we can't, we love Brenda, but then also like, but the chemistry is amazing. and we need the drama on this
Right.
show. And teenagers, they're super horny this season for some reason.
For some reason, because they're
Who
teenagers.
knows? It's hot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Summertime and the living's easy. That's
Right.
not what this is about. Um, it's
It is
not at all.
now.
Oh God, no. But it just feels again. It. I feel like that final scene, even though they'd been flirting, came out of nowhere, and I have no idea if we had the acting class again, then
Oh,
I would be
sure.
like, okay, maybe they're practicing a scene.
Working on a scene.
Uh, huh?
Yeah, working on a scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
working on a scene. I don't know if this is maybe they ended the episode on some fantasy. It's so strange.
Okay. So
It's so
that's interesting.
strange.
Um, it's interesting that you said fantasy, because I think one of the things this episode is about is the reality of living out a fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Like, David gets to live out the beginning of the fantasy of really cute girl just walks into my apartment and tells me that she thinks I'm sexy.
Valid.
Like, yeah, like she likes my music and the way I move and thinks I look like George Michael. And like, wow. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't have written better. I'm ready. She wants me, and like this is prime start of a fantasy for David. But then the reality is he has a girlfriend, and Kelly's like, "Don't be a douche," and he stops himself. Like he's like, you know what? You're right. And then Donna gets to live the fantasy of, when I was in Paris eating a crepe, how come no one made me a high fashion model? Like,
Right.
that's so fucking ridiculous. Like, it's not a real thing.
No.
But Donna gets to live out the fantasy of this. Like, suddenly I went from not being able to buy pastry without being insulted to a 2-year contract to travel Europe and be a high fashion model the way that Miss Piggy wants to in Great Muppet Caper.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. It takes place in Paris. No, it's in London. Shit. I would have been really happy to be able to watch Great Muppet Caper for this.
We'll find out.
We will. In two, like, well, I mean, pastry to contract that was like a week, maybe, right? Like,
if that.
they're moving through a lot real fast here because there's only three. There's a 6-week immersion program, and they're covering it in 3 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So, and we've seen, like, we know that time has passed because Donna gets picked up by the sex
Limo.
fisher.
Oh God.
No, Yvonne, the PA, and goes to her Pierre party, and there's enough time for this entire portfolio to be created, but also for her to have written a letter that got back to David.
True. And she has been missing a lot of the immersion program.
Yeah. So like this is all, like, it feels condensed, but this is all happening over a couple of weeks, which is why I was like, boy, this episode feels packed.
Yeah.
Because just doing all this, things are jumping. So
we can't afford to be in the French backlot for longer than 3 episodes.
Yeah, we got 4 days on the backlot tops. We got to get it all in. So I don't know. I lost my train of thought there, but it is.
Living out fantasy.
Yeah, she gets there so fast, and they're and so that's the other thing with Dylan and Kelly, where it's like this feels like it was just like over 2 days, but this is kind of going on for a week.
That's
at
true.
least, maybe 2. And that's a little bit of a fantasy, like coming into this, like, wait a minute, is there something going on here? Like, it feels like maybe there's something going on here.
Yeah.
And that's much more real. That's like a real thing that happens to people all the time, you know? But that summer fling, that whole thing, there's just a fantastical element to all of the stuff that happens in this episode. Like it's all pretty ridiculous. You know, when you like come on, rich and famous contract.
Exactly.
It's been 2 weeks, and those pictures are fine. Like you wore like 4 outfits, but I mean, come on, Donna. There's another one I didn't believe that either. Like if you're gonna be like sexiest people on earth, Brooke and Donna, just it wouldn't do it. Like it was weird.
Of all characters to get, new and free headshots, you had to give it to the one who's set for life on headshots in the business. Like her dad's a producer. She doesn't need this.
Right, but that's why the Donna story is the Tori story. Like, that's why Donna is like, yeah, I have money, not my own money.
Mm-hmm.
I got money I made myself based on who I am. And I have to prove myself and what my skills are. And that's what Donna's all about in this episode. And that's very much a Tori thing. How could it not be? Her dad's the producer of the show.
Yeah.
That's a thing she had to live with. And still does, listening to her podcast. It's still a thing.
I wish I could prove myself through getting work.
You can prove yourself. This is proving yourself.
Oh, okay.
We're proving ourselves every day because we're fucking awesome. Listen up. Okay. What did you think this episode was really about?
I think this episode was about how we do stupid things because of our insecurities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me.
And listen, everyone's insecure, no matter what age you are. Any teenagers who might eventually listen, guess what? They're gonna continue into adulthood. Have fun with that. So just some things I listed. I think, David is feeling insecure because, Donna has this modeling career and she might get hit on by Frenchmen. And also I'm just, I'm a teenage boy and I'm insecure, but this girl is interested in my music. So insecurity leads to kissing another girl. Donna, I'm insecure in another country where I'm not great with the language and I'm getting in my own way about it. Someone thinks I'm pretty and that I can model. I'm going to throw everything away and be a model in another country. Kelly, rejected from Jake.
Right.
I'll come back to Kelly in a minute. So Kelly, reeling from what's happened with Jake and, also the summer before, she just hasn't been lucky in love. So I feel like in a way she's pursuing a friendship with Dylan first, but that's complicated when you're a kid and hormones and, it's complicated as an adult too, but as an adult, you can kind of be more discerning about like what's happening and maybe have a discussion about it. Whereas a kid, you're going to be like, I don't know what's happening and I'm going to keep this all inside. Steve, insecure, again, riddled with insecurities, but he hides all of it in his machismo. And to the point where it could really get in the way of his friendships because he just wants to get laid.
Right.
And he has to make it more complicated for himself by pursuing someone who keeps sending him signals that she's not interested. He wants to keep torturing himself.
I wonder, I feel like, not to give Steve credit, but I think we're shown that he wants more than sex.
That's true.
Like, I think he's dripping in insecurity, like you said. But what he wants, he wants to, pop the Dom Perignon and then pop the Dom Perignon. But he really just wants someone to choose him.
Yeah.
So I think
he's a pick me girl.
Kinda.
Oh my god!
Is he the first one?
Pick me girl. I don't.
Is he the first one? This has got to be before Grey's Anatomy or whatever. So.
It's definitely before that, but I bet. Oh man, now I want to find pick me girls in history.
Oh, there you go.
They exist.
Anyway, who else was insecure?
My last one was, I think Brenda started smoking out of insecurity.
Okay.
because she sees that Maggie has some worldly knowledge and she's
Mhm.
sophisticated.
Yeah.
And, Brenda has been the rock for Donna and had to be like kind of a voice of reason. And so, I mean, that happens in friendships. Sometimes you're the voice of reason with some friends, and then other friends, you get to be the messy one,
Right.
and they get to have the responsibility of being the voice of
Uh-huh.
reason. And it
Yeah.
gets tiring. And so yeah, I think after listening to Maggie go on about her supposed experience, um, she's like, all right, well, I'll take a cigarette after all. It's like, ooh.
Uh-huh. I think she's been itching to, but I think you're
Oh
right.
yeah.
She's trying to um become someone, while she's in Paris. And not like someone she's not. I think she's trying to find out how to become who she is a little
Sure.
bit. And and also, if you can't rebel against your parents by going to live with your boyfriend, you can rebel against your parents by starting smoking.
I mean, why stop at one? Just keep going, I guess.
Right. I disagree. Do not start smoking. Smoking is bad for you, and it smells terrible. Um,
Yeah.
Slightly better than dipping, but that's gross too. So don't do that. I'm just telling you things that are gross. That's all.
That's so fair.
Not moral judgment. Just that shit's gross, man.
Yeah.
You can be a good person and smoke, but you're still gross.
And vaping is also bad for you, so don't think you're.
That's right. You're gross. Everything's it.
I'm over here trying to be the good cop about it. Just like,
Nope.
you know,
Everybody, you're gross. That's what I say.
you gotta try it once, but it's bad. Don't keep doing it.
Right. Because it's gross. Um,
It isn't
Speaking of
fun
gross,
making out with a smoker. Done it.
no.
No.
Um, okay, this is an excellent segue into this new segment idea I have. But I do have something else that this episode is really about. But I want to use the grossed out kissing somebody segue, because here's the new segment idea. It's called "Did Leslie throw up in her mouth or throw something?" And
This.
here's how it works. I take something that somebody said or something that happened, and I present it, and you tell me uh, what your visceral physical reaction was to this, because I'm certain that you had one. All right, you ready? All right, here
I'm
it
ready.
is. There is something fabulous that happens to a young girl in that fleeting moment. Becomes a woman. Did Leslie throw up in her mouth or throw something?
Through something. I mean, you heard me growl just now, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's the creepiest shit I've seen on this show to date.
disgusting.
So nasty.
Je suis disgusted.
It was so terrible. Like, I've seen this show a lot, and I just was like, Pierre is gross. But I
I
didn't
wish
remember that line. That line was some kind of nasty.
I wish grooming could always be that obvious.
Right.
So many of us would have been spared.
Right.
And even then, Donna knows this. I mean, I'm not saying that people couldn't still miss that obvious of a comment.
You must read between the lines in the contract I gave you for sex.
Yeah, read between these lines, asshole.
Yeah. You were. That was that other finger you were doing. I see what it was.
It took me a minute.
Sneaky. Sneaky. I didn't even know.
I stuff. I growled.
Yeah, I bet.
And
Yeah.
not in a sexy way. I was pissed.
Oh, it's so nasty.
In the rewatch, just watching the woman, it was really upsetting. I thought, because obviously there have been a lot of these scenarios where people, I mean, it's like the Harvey Weinstein thing, people saying, don't go audition for him. I understand you're protecting yourself by not saying it, but in the future, everyone, let's all just be better and, be
Right.
blunt. Like,
Tell me
hey,
why. Why is it a bad idea?
yeah. Oh, New
Yeah.
York's really tough to live in? Tell me why.
Right. Yeah. It's mostly rent
Um,
pizza.
People love Pizza Hut.
That's true. Well,
He's the least problem. He's the least of our problems here.
yeah, that's true. Pretty gross, though. That's gross, too. Edict! Pizza Hut. Gross. It's an episode of Gross Edicts. Yeah, I just the
You're a baby. Go back to your crib.
but you are not my baby. Yeah, yeah. No, Pierre's nasty. But like Yvonne, his PA, whose job it is to bring him sex people and then judge him.
Yeah.
I don't know what that woman's doing with her life. Like she's
Hating herself.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be enjoying this. It's a bad deal.
It's the trope wherein a woman works with a gross man because she thinks that's how she's gonna level up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's Allison in House of the Dragon. Like,
right. Yeah, true. Although, to be fair, most of the people in House of the Dragon, I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it. It's like that blonde one is mad at that blonde one, and then Doctor Who is over there. I think he's crazy.
You mean Prince Philip?
Yeah, I guess so. He's the Doctor first and foremost. Not my Doctor. I'm a David Tennant guy, but I did like the Doctor. So, anyway, I don't know. I don't know why anyone on that. They're just doing it because they got some dragons. These dragons, they got to fight.
They all have the same name. At this point, I'm invested in the dragons only, and it's going to be devastating.
Yeah, you know how that's going to end. All right, back to what this episode is really about. Here's what I think it's about. I think it's about honoring relationships. And what Steve says, while the cat is away, the mice will play. Like, I think that's what's going on in this episode, because, and it's everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's Dylan and Kelly in some kind of flirt off. Donna is, being drawn to this Pierre situation, even if she's not being unfaithful. The idea of her being unfaithful is like everyone in this movie has seen Frantic, or everyone in this episode. Like, because they're just like, oh, right, because people in Paris, everybody's fucking. Like, he's married, bitch, please.
You get, France is the Vegas of Europe. What happens there stays there.
Yeah. And what happens there is bone it. Like, all the time, apparently. David is kissing on Nikki. Brandon is not really honoring his relationship with Steve.
Yeah.
And Brooke is like, I think Brooke's being pretty straightforward, but she is very much in the middle of this thing, and she's a way for their relationship to be dishonored.
Yeah.
And this is like the last time I'm going to say something nice about Brooke, everybody, just so we're aware, because everybody else knows what's coming and you don't. But I'm just, yeah, and I'm out there saying, everybody from Jump Street, Brooke's fucking awful.
No.
But in this circumstance, she didn't really do anything wrong. Nikki is out there not honoring her relationship with Diesel. Diesel is out there not honoring his relationship with Nikki with anything in spandex. And it's not just that they're doing it, it's also that they're advising one another about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, David goes to Steve and says, what should I do here? And why you would ask Steve's opinion on anything, I have no fucking idea. But Steve's like, go for it. Like, she won't give it to you, go for it. And David's like, my penis says that's good advice, so probably I'll do that. But then Kelly says to David, don't go for it. Like, don't
You
be
know
that
what's
guy.
sexy? Staying faithful.
That's right. But then maybe Kelly kind of goes for it.
Uh,
Then uh, Brenda says not to go for it to Donna,
yep.
right? Don't do this. Um, we'll see if Brenda follows her own advice or not. Um, Dylan says, well, Dylan gets some real confusing advice. Like, at first, he's like, well, he did meet her first, but then all's fair in love and volleyball. Dylan's like, do what you want, fuck off. I don't care. Like, the two of
Dylan
you
is
know, right?
some weird philosopher standing on the street, and you're like, I don't know if he's homeless or not, but he's saying something that I feel like is valuable.
But he's saying that, but that's because he's saying both sides, and you just hear the one you want to hear.
Uh-huh.
So I guess go to Dylan if the advice you want is do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm going to go water sports. Brandon, David tries to go for it and then doesn't. Brandon says that he won't go for it, then he goes for it.
Yeah.
Pierre is always going for it. Like, everyone in this episode, they're not necessarily saying what they'll do. Sometimes they're saying the opposite of what they'll do. Sometimes Pierre, and you're just, everything is sex.
I mean, isn't that human nature, though? You know, like,
yeah,
we love giving advice.
mm-hmm. Like, don't be gross.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gross. Everybody's gross.
You should believe in yourself. And then I'm over here like, I hate myself. Like,
right, exactly.
Well,
yeah. No, they very much are trying to figure themselves out, and like, because they all have a moral compass, but it seems more finely tuned for others.
Yes.
You know, and so
you should be living the life. You should be living your life according to my rules, and I can go and do whatever I want because I'm amazing. If you live more like me, you can also be amazing. But
there's a good reason for me to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
For you to do what you're doing, that's bad. But for me to do what I'm doing, there's a very good reason for it, and I will tell you about it. Like, we can all justify our own bullshit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot of that going on in this episode. And I don't know. I don't feel like the show has taken up a position. You know?
I was thinking, too, I don't know how much this ties in, but I feel like it kind of does. Because, you know, you've mentioned some that Aaron Silver is a catalyst for a bunch of shit that's going to go down. And I'm like, you know.
Oh, we're in the middle of it.
Kelly, well, that's what I'm thinking, because Kelly she seemed so different on Melrose Place.
Right.
But even if you take that away from it, she still seems different this season. And I'm like, is that just from Aaron or just from Jake, or is it both?
Right. Yeah, she's definitely growing up. She's changing in some ways.
But of course, stealing your best friend's guy is a weird reaction to having a baby sister, unless you're just like, you know what, Dylan is stirring my biological needs. Yeah, my biological clock is ticking. That's not the line, but I tried.
No, yeah, no, but you're there. We're doing it.
Yeah.
And your biological clock. Yeah.
Maybe it was a bad time.
Yeah. So we're right in the middle of what Aaron hath wrought.
Oh dear.
Because if Aaron doesn't come around, Kelly doesn't meet Jake.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't, because Mel and Jackie aren't necessarily getting married in a gazebo in their backyard
right away.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe like everything that happens on Melrose doesn't even happen either. If
timeline.
Yeah. But we also, without Aaron, Kelly goes to Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Not Brenda. which means that Kelly and Dylan aren't available to whatever's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And Brenda is not available for whatever's happening there. So everything that happens from this point forward is basically because of Aaron.
Wow.
Yeah.
Erin's going to break up Brenda and Dylan. She's going to say, I'm going to do what Jim Walsh couldn't do.
That's right, Jim. Watch out, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. There's something that you had mentioned earlier that I wanted to come back to, and I can't remember what the line was you said. But here's what it is.
Oh,
flirting. Oh, yeah. But flirting is fucking weird. Like, people, when they flirt, say weird shit.
With a certain tone.
Yeah. But, like, Nikki just walking in and saying, do you know I want your sex?
Oh, my God.
Like, okay. I mean, that's pretty silly.
I was known to say some inadvertently inappropriate shit because I just was that sheltered. And of course, people would like, ha, 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 Leslie doesn't know. And then, oh, right. Leslie, this is what it means. Like, that was me in high school, you know? But I would never have blatantly said, do you know I want your sex?
Right. Of course not.
It wasn't that bad.
And I have been accused of being overly verbose. But I would never say, will I get in trouble with the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Beautiful Girls? That is some dumb shit.
Who says that?
Fucking Brandon. But that's some dumb shit. Like, that is not those words should not be put together in that order.
No.
And he, because you can't say them and not make it sound like it was something you were planning to say. Like, there's no way to off the cuff that one, because you're gonna stumble over trouble with the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Beautiful Girls. This is way more than a mouthful, Brandon. You risk spraining a thumb. That that's a weird science joke. So when they're
anti-disestablishmentarianism, that's what I have to say to that.
Yeah, no, it's in Weird Science, they're making their Frankenstein sex toy out of a Barbie doll, and they're like messing with the proportions, and I can't remember which one says it, but like they choose a smaller breast size because anything bigger than a handful and you risk spraining a thumb, which I think is a fairly solid way to put that.
Shout out to those with handfuls.
That's right.
And only a handful.
And safe thumbs. Yeah. So, restraining the thumb. I didn't talk about Weird Science today, but here we are.
Here we are.
All right.
There is a lot of weird flirting in this. I will agree, but also, I mean, I think it makes sense because they're kids, and so
right.
I mean, when you're a kid, things that you don't know are flirting just sound that way.
Right.
This is what's, and I had this problem while watching it because, of course, my mind unfortunately went to like assuming they're flirting, and when really sometimes you're just being friendly, or you're meaning to be friendly, but there's a bit more interest there, and so you're inadvertently flirting. Like, it's really complicated, and so that's why when women get accused of things, it's upsetting.
Yeah, I get that. But even Steve at the end is like remember, he may have a great smile, but I'm better at volleyball. What, Steve?
What is that going to do?
I mean, I know he's trying to save face, but it's a weird thing to say. Like, people just say weird shit, and like when they're trying to flirt or extricate themselves from flirting.
Yeah, like, okay, great. That's not that doesn't that doesn't like tie into whatever biological needs alert me to, will this person protect me?
Well, I mean, but she'll help you get that trophy.
I don't give a
And that
shit about the
trophy,
trophy.
everybody wants it. Oh, she wants that
Wow.
trophy. All right, who's the better babysitter? Brandon, Steve, Kelly, or Dylan?
Brandon,
These are the four
Steve.
people we've seen. Yeah, because we've seen Brandon
Oh,
and
that's because
Steve
we've seen them.
join. I mean, Brandon feeds
Um,
the children ice cream.
I
Dylan
mean,
piles on a shit ton of emotional baggage. Like,
speaking of
don't ever trust
stirring,
anybody.
speaking of stirring up biological things that I don't want stirred up, Dylan holding a baby.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I turned
Yeah.
30, and then anytime I saw a dude holding a baby, I was like, oh, I don't, that's weird. Doesn't mean I want kids. It's just my body going like, oh, doesn't that
Yep.
look appealing? Doesn't that look appealing? I'm like, look at my count. That also isn't appealing. Um, no, but I mean, I love what Dylan had to say to the baby, because that's the kind of weird, tortured shit I would be like too. Like telling the baby all the things you're not going to remember, but are going to be helpful to you. It's
Right.
cute.
Like, yeah, you're on your own, kid. No one will ever love you. But you got a sister and a brother. How's that for it? That's pretty good.
How
I don't know. Dylan's mixed messages in this episode are a lot.
the lies are all you need.
Yeah.
That's what he
I
really
mean,
meant to
he
say.
just,
Learn to lie to yourself, kid. Live in the delusion.
yeah.
Live in the illusion. I was whatever.
I think
I think
I
Kelly
think for
might be
me,
the best.
Kelly's probably. I think she is, yeah, because Dylan is again laying a lot of emotional baggage on this child. Steve is just cut and run, doesn't know how to put on a diaper, and Brandon is just like, "How about some ice cream? Would that help?" Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fine solution to some problems as we've seen on the show, but with a baby, probably not great.
Yeah. Whereas Kelly is attentive and she's comfortable and she knows how to
Mhm.
test the milk.
That's true, right on the wrist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even do you think she could? Do you think she was better with a bottle, or do you think Tom Selleck in 3 Men and a Baby was better with the bottle when they were throwing it bottle, bottle?
That's months ago now. I don't remember.
Yeah. What about? Do you think it's better to be like Dylan and unload your emotional baggage on the baby, or to be like Tom Selleck and read the Sports Illustrated article about the heavyweight championship fight?
Tom Selleck.
That's better. Okay.
Absolutely.
Understand the words. She's just responding to the tone of my voice, Michael.
I mean, exactly. And also that's less likely to stick with her in a weird way. Whereas now Aaron, oh man, I would love it. We're not gonna watch the spinoff, but I would love it if somehow down the road one day she's like, I don't trust people. I don't know why exactly. It doesn't make sense. But like I've never trusted people. And then we go back, dun dun.
Yeah. It's I wish that the spinoff maintained that level of canonical consistency.
Of course it doesn't.
Like there's something that they do in the spinoff where Aaron displays some like a mental illness,
Oh.
and she's David's sister, but sister through Mel, not sister through David's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And David's mom had that exact same mental illness, and they never connected those dots in any way. But also, that's not how that would have.
No.
She would have had like maybe the Mel part of it, not the. She's not related to Sheila at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just one of those stupid things on that show that I was like, that's not correct.
That's not correct.
That's not how it works. 90210 show.
That's not how
That
any of
is-
this works.
No, none of it. All right. What did this make you nostalgic for?
It didn't make me nostalgic for getting teased for how badly I play volleyball or any sport.
Sure.
There, so after graduation, after high school graduation, there were a lot of, graduation parties, and it was great. And one of my friends, they had, volleyball nets set up. And so I always, I only ever felt confident serving. I was like, I know I can serve.
Right.
Keep me there. But then whenever they put me anywhere else, I would do the thing of, like, "Ah, I don't want to get in." And my friend's dad teased me a lot about it, and I was like, well,
He's probably right to do that.
I mean, it's fair. It was funny, but also like, yeah, I just avoid sports.
Yeah, I get that. I think this made me nostalgic for whenever it was last year that we watched Casablanca and recorded an episode on it.
I know.
So everybody, we're not re-releasing that episode, but it's in the feed. Go back and listen to our Casablanca episode. It's great.
Hell yeah.
And it's applicable for this episode as well as the episode last summer that we watched it for. Play it again, David. And David's playing it again in this episode. God damn it.
Oh, isn't he though?
I think David should never play it again, but I'm not going to get that.
Is
David's
he precious
play
to
it.
you?
He's so precious to me. I have so many David Silver songs in my head that.
Oh no.
Well, there's more. There's more than this one. Oh yeah.
Oh, he does have a tempo CD.
He does tape, but yeah.
Oh, tape.
This is earlier than CDs. Yeah, this predates CDs. Yeah. So that's what this made me nostalgic for. Is go back and listen to our Casablanca episode. It's really good. I'm not sure that we came down on it because it's been a while since we recorded it. I'm not sure that we came down on Casablanca as this is the most romantic movie ever made.
No.
Which is where Kelly lands.
But it's got some beautiful, intimate moments. That I was reading somewhere about, some of the most what are considered to be the most intimate kisses, like the best kisses on screen. And they're usually war related. And so that one in Casablanca, as the Nazis are invading France.
Yep. What about the one in Pearl Harbor where whatever the fuck is happening? Mercy is making out with either Splashdown or Fly Guy.
It's Fly Guy in the parachutes.
That's right. What if one of our airmen died? That's right. Go back and listen to our episode on Pearl Harbor too. That's funny.
That's pretty great.
The movie's terrible.
We didn't miss the point.
No, Michael Bay missed the point. All right. Who is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
It's Pierre.
Yeah.
It's Pierre.
Yeah, Pierre's fucking gross. All right, here's the thing.
Oh wait, hold on. I have one more.
Okay, tell me.
It's also the sound editor because that fucking Cheers sound that was playing over and over and over again. I know you all have the budget. It's third fucking season. I'm spitting on myself now. Jesus. Get a new sound.
Yeah. So here's the exact opposite of what you just said ties into the thing I was trying to figure out how to say, because this is one of those things where I know what happens, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to contain my comments to what we've seen in this episode.
Okay.
That is getting more challenging for me because the show is becoming more serialized, and I'm like, wait, where did the story arc stop and in that episode? And what part hasn't Leslie seen yet?
Brooke's gonna be the worst, I guess.
Well, Brooke sucks. But we're given in this episode, we're given a lot of subtle flirting with Kelly and Dylan, until the electric guitar.
I know.
When she walks into that cabana and that electric guitar is like, that is the they're gonna fuck guitar. So I'm
scared.
It feels to me like we're supposed to think they did, but it's only because of the darks and the shadows and the standing up and the electric guitar just wailing away.
I mean, he's in a wife beater. That's the fuck me uniform.
And she got extra dressed up, and I don't know why. I don't know what their plan was that evening where she had to wear that outfit.
It
Like, she
gave
could
her a
have just.
Marilyn look.
It did, but what does that have to do with Casablanca? You know what I mean?
It doesn't,
Like,
but it's the age old. It's like on Mad Men, Jackie versus Marilyn. They want the blondes and brunettes to fight each other.
Right. Well, okay. So I'm not saying one way or the other, but I am saying that I think that electric guitar wants us to think that they boned.
Yeah, that's why I freaked out and texted you in all caps.
Yep. Yeah. So like but since they never show us, like we're left to surmise.
Wait.
And in this episode, they never show us, so we're left to surmise what happened, and because of the electric guitar, Kelly is the worst person of the episode because for me because.
Okay.
And it's not because she went to Dylan's cabana, which is not even his cabana. They're not members there anymore. I don't know whose cabana. It might have been David's for all. Who knows? It's not Jim and Cindy's. They're on the second floor. But if she hadn't given David the guilt trip, about how sexy being faithful is, and and then he comes up to her and thanks her for keeping him on the right path. When in that moment, she knows she's about to go listen to some electric guitar. So there's a dishonesty in her that makes her the worst person for me. Now, if there's no electric guitar playing in that cabana, then maybe I'm not supposed to think they had sex. But because I feel like that's what they're telling me,
I'm so scared of where the next episode's going to start now. Because, like, if it doesn't start in the cabana, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. So we only have one more episode in Paris, and then they come back
to USA.
Yeah, and so I want everyone out there to know how excited I am for Leslie to meet Monsieur Rick.
No.
Yes, Monsieur Rick. You mentioned him early.
Does he own the Casablanca? Is it just survived World War II and went back to Paris?
I don't think so, unless he stopped in Wisconsin first.
Oh,
so
what?
Yeah, there's just things happening next week that are things that are happening next week. Yep. I know, you're going to have to immediately watch the episode as soon as this one's over.
Did you do laundry?
Well, I don't know. Have to and want to.
Should but shorn't.
Yeah. So we do know that on Friday we're going back to Paris, but I don't think we decided 100% what movie we were going to watch. So,
what were we thinking about again? I forgot.
The Da Vinci Code. No, Da Vinci Code is one of the things we talked about. But yeah, and then we also had, like, for the week after that, maybe Hunchback of Notre Dame you had mentioned. I don't know. We can still look for Paris episodes, but I do have that wonderful Da Vinci Code story that I need to tell everybody.
That's true.
So whatever. Something Paris related on Friday, Cheesemeisters. And next week, join us here for Season 3, Episode 5, Shooting Star / American in Paris.
Oh, well, that feels like we need to watch American in Paris.
We have to see if we can. I don't even know. I've never seen that movie, so
I haven't either.
All right,
it's one of the few older musicals I haven't seen.
Well, let's give it a look. Let's see if that makes sense. But until then, Cheesemeisters.
Bye.
Bye.